Hello and welcome to my channel. I feel like I'm going to have to kind of be quite quick today because I've got a neighbour using power tools and I want to do this video before they start up again. There's a little bit of a pause at the moment. But this is probably quite a straightforward card in a way, but then it isn't the actual meaning. As you'll see, it's quite sneaky. And I think I've got a good Kate Bush song choice for this. I'd say for all the swords, one thing I've noticed in particular in creating this deck is the importance of humour. So we're in the realm of the mind and we can start to take our ideas and our opinions and our thoughts very seriously. That is the danger of the swords. And if we can, kind of introduce some lightness, some humour, even when things are very dark, that seems like a really, that's my top tip for navigating the swords energy. So I've started with the Rider-Waite because it's such a good image. I love, sorry, I'll just bring it a bit closer, but I love the way they're looking behind their shoulder. So they've done something sneaky, underhand, maybe something that other people won't approve of, and they're looking behind their shoulder to see if they've been noticed. And they've left, I mean, lots of people say about the fact, they've left two swords behind, so it's not a complete theft. And sort of question to ask would be, are you the person who's being not very straightforward with people, or are you the person that is maybe allowing someone to cross your boundaries? And I've heard this, talked about in a modern sense of like identity theft, or someone stealing your ideas. So it could be that, it could be something. What's being stolen might not be an object or money or whatever. It might actually be your ideas or your creativity. So that is one view, and that's obviously the shadow is about deception. And I think that's probably my Kate Bush song deals more with the shadow side of this. But I wanted to show the Mary Ale Tarot because that is more of a positive. So I think often we don't hear the positive side of this card. We're in sevens, and sevens are, I mean, the odd numbers in general, you could say a little bit less stable in tarot, but certainly the fives and the sevens, we are in a sort of transition, and that is often about dealing with other people as well. And, other people might block us. We might have great ideas, but other people have their own ideas and their own kind of intentions. I like the Mary Ale because there's a more positive side to this card in that, I mean, I'll read what she says in the guidebook in a minute, I think. That's probably the best way to approach this. Actually, let me do that first, and then I'll say what I think is interesting about her viewpoint on this card. Okay, so I'm just going to read just this end bit, I think. So she's got this sort of mythology of the raven, and in this myth, the world was created in 6 days, and on the 7th, the raven crossed the event horizon and stole the sun from the gods. He took reason, the ability to transcend beyond physical needs and societal norms, and seek out one's true purpose in life. So what I think is interesting here is where she says about societal norms. And there's this idea, especially maybe as an artist or someone creative, there's this idea that we're going against. This is the card of the nonconformist, actually. This is someone who disrupts things a little bit. I haven't got the Thoth card here, but maybe I should have done, because Aleister Crowley is a really good example of this, but you know, someone who disrupts things and ideas, and you know, maybe we don't feel that comfortable with, but that is part of art, is challenging society. And I'll just go on as well, because she says a lovely kind of paragraph here, which I think is really beautiful. We are all born with a soul, a divine and perfect soul. But when you have free will and the ability to intentionally direct yourself, you will become finally responsible for who and what you are. You are creative, and you can go about becoming into the image of your highest potential. This is the vehicle of your magnum opus, bringing something only you can bring to the world. And then she says, for keywords, free will, reason, balancing your passions and emotions, your mind and heart, taking responsibility for your life, which is going to be key to the Kate Bush song, self-determination, you are the driver of your own destiny. And when we're reversed, I mean, it's kind of the opposite of those things, but giving away power and control, blaming someone else. So those are all my clues. This card, I am almost at the halfway point, and I am going to do a review of what cards I've done so far and what I've learned from this whole process and stuff. So I'm enjoying thinking about all those questions. Now, I'll say this card is one of the cards that I don't really, so I feel happy with my song choice, don't feel that happy with the card itself. But let me show it to you anyway, and then I'm going to talk about the song, which is not a song from an album. It is the B-side from Babushka, I believe, and it is Rantanwals. This is partly why I'm not happy with it. It was because I had ended up having to print from my printer's not great at the moment. I ended up having to print a still from the video, I think, like a screenshot from the video. And I will link the video, because the video I absolutely love. I say video, but it's from Christmas special. So this is Rantanwals. Have I said that already? I can't remember. And I think the only recording of it, or the only video I can find or whatever, is Christmas special 1979. And she is dancing with her two dancers. One of whom is Gary Hurst, I believe, who is Bubba in Moments of Pleasure. So, and her and, is it Gary Hurst? I think it's Gary Hurst. Apologies, I will correct myself if it's not. But they were the same age, or practically the same age, within a year or two. And they kind of almost grew up together. And they're both quite young here, grew up together dancing. And he was a really, really good friend. And then really sadly died very young of complications from AIDS in 1990. I suppose just before we had the Red Shoes album. So in this video, there is so much joy. And I think the dancing, it's great. So Kate Bush is, in the song, I think the song is very much influenced by like folk music. And the idea is there's this, this young man who feels like he's been tricked by his partner, and he's been left with the one who's looking after the baby, and she here, so that's the baby that she's sitting on, and she here is going out and enjoying herself. I mean, I think it'd be quite an unusual situation. I feel like it's often the woman that gets left with the baby, but perhaps that's why it appealed to Kate Bush because of that reversal. But what I was going to say in terms, so I liked the She Saw Me Coming from Miles because there was that sense of someone plotting, or, you know, I think sometimes when we get tricked, we do feel like that other person is a few steps ahead of us. I think that's the general feeling, or they've kind of seen something that we weren't aware of. And there is that element in this card. But I thought what was interesting as well, I mean, it's a funny song. It's not too serious. But in a way, I don't know how much sympathy I have for the young man in this song, because he kind of should take risk. I know he's got the baby to look after, I suppose. But there is also a sense that he's completely blaming this woman, and I wonder if he's kind of envying, and you know, he'd quite like to have a good time as well, I expect. And he's not taking. I feel like he's not really taking responsibility. He's completely blaming her. And I think this card is a reminder to take responsibility as well. It's definitely about boundaries and, yeah, making sure. I mean, to go back to this with the swords, you could say those swords have just been left out. They're a bit careless. Because someone's going to come along and steal them. You know, they haven't been defended. So there's also that, what do we lay ourselves open to? Sometimes we need to be careful. We need to not be too trusting. And also maybe the positive side, to return to this, Marianne in particular, the positive side of doing something new and something that goes against the grain, that there is a time when we have to step out of conformity, and there will be times when people don't agree with what we're doing, and maybe even think what we're doing is wrong or dubious, and we then have to be answerable to ourselves, don't we? So I think it's got some interesting elements, this card, definitely. So that's my take on the Seven of Swords, and as I said, I think my next video is going to be a flip through of all the cards I've done so far, and a little bit of a reflection on what's been working, what hasn't worked, which my favourite cards are, which cards I haven't really felt I've got to the bottom of yet, what I'm looking forward to in future doing with this deck. So thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.